Dana White, according to TMZ Sports, says he's a day or two from securing this private island. I won't be able to get international fighters, all of them into the United States, so I have a private island. I'm going to fly them there and do the fights from there. And I kick it over to fellow Syracuse Orangeman, Ariel Helwani,
yes,
for more.
indeed. The host of the Ariel Helwani MMA show and so much more, ESPN's MMA Snap Show. Proud father of three, as he says in his Twitter bio. Kind enough to double up as a Chris Brockman news correspondent right here, Ariel Helwani. How are you, Ariel?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. And Chris, I want to congratulate you and all our fellow Orangemen across this great country and world. It was on this day back in 2003 that young Carmelo Anthony led the Orange to their lone national championship. So a mazel tov to everyone.
Mazel tov to you. And Jerry McNamara, who's 6 3-pointers in the first half.
Can you say mazel tov to a guy named Jerry McNamara?
I mean, great point, Rich.
I
great
know.
point.
Passover does start tomorrow night, so maybe just pass over that. How are you, Ariel? I trust everybody is well and good in your world, I hope.
Everyone is great. Thank you for asking. How about you?
We're good. Knock on wood. And, again, as long as we're able to be here, we'll be here. So how is this not a fighting fire fest, Ariel? Walk me through what you're hearing about this plan, other than the fact it could obviously be very well funded. But a private island, creating your own fight world, that is something, Ariel.
Yes, it is something. The MMA world, I've often called it a circus over the years, but this has exceeded even my own expectations. There's kind of two stories happening at the same time here, Rich, because there's one story where the UFC has this event scheduled for April 18th, which is not this Saturday, next Saturday, and they have been hell-bent on putting on this pay-per-view event. And from what I'm hearing, they're on the verge of finalizing a deal somewhere on the west coast of the United States, likely California, on a tribal land, where they will basically set up shop at this location and put on a multitude of events. Like, it will now become sort of like a makeshift UFC headquarters, if you will, and they will put on a bunch of events for American-based fighters April 18th, April 25th, May 2nd, May 9th, et cetera, et cetera. And they're already working on logistics and getting, a chef there and all this stuff, and it's just going to be like their own private arena. And then yesterday, Dana White tells TMZ, as you mentioned, that, he's close to securing this island to hold events for the international fighters because, of course, the international fighters won't be able to come here to the United States. Now, I have not talked to a single fighter or manager who has told me that they have heard this from the UFC. Like, this was all news to everyone when Dana said it. Also worth noting, every single fighter and manager that is scheduled to compete not only on the April 18th or 25th cards have not been told where these fights are happening just yet. So the UFC is keeping everything very close to the vest. I feel a lot more confident in the April 18th fight happening at this location in California as opposed to this island. I think that's going to be a little more involved. But they are hell-bent on putting on these events and forging on and being the first one to be up and running for whatever reason. And Dana feels confident right now that it's going to happen.
Well, look, obviously having a captive audience for such a popular sport, and UFC is one of the most popular entities on the planet, that makes sense to try and get that up and running. But wouldn't people have to be 14-day quarantine right now to hold something, or have been over the weekend to hold something on the 18th of April?
Yes, and there's so much more. Like, my head is spinning thinking about this, because you're not just talking about the fights itself or themselves. You're talking about the training camps, right? These guys and girls aren't training alone. They're training with coaches. They have to prepare. You can't just train in your house by yourself on the treadmill for a fight. And so by virtue of that, you're doing essentially everything that the government is telling us not to do, right? And by the way, I've talked to a multitude of fighters who have all said to me, we want to fight. This is the only way I make money. This is the only way I can provide for my family. I am very happy that the UFC is going through all this to try to make these fights happen because I need to make money. I've already invested in training camp coaches, etc. So on the one hand, I'm conflicted because if you just look at the news, everything that is out there, every sporting organization, every non-essential business is shut down, right? They're not doing anything right now. So why is MMA above all this? It feels very weird. It doesn't sit well with me. On the other hand, I respect the fighters greatly, and I feel for them, and they want to make money, as do some of the other people who are losing out right now. And so I don't want to, rain on their parade and try to stop us. But there's a mix of emotions. It's very strange.